Well, well, well. Look who got it done. May not have been the method that I suggested. I thought he was gonna get a KO on Gamrot trying to shoot a takedown. But Dan the Hangman Hooker got it done split decision. 29-28. Listen, man, I've been saying it for a while to everyone in my spaces, I guess. But yeah, Dan the Hangman Hooker still got it. I saw a lot of doubters on the internet. MMA Guru picking against him. I think We Want Picks picked against him. I haven't seen Running Mouth, but I think Running Mouth even picked against him. Whole world picking against the Hangman. And listen, I know his gym is full of doggy diddlers like Israel Adesanya, but at the end of the day, Hangman's still the Hangman. That's all that matters. Oh, it was a sick fight too. Honestly, if you haven't watched it, whenever UFC decides to post it for free, because I know most of you guys probably aren't watching ESPN or any other UFC's $80 fucking fight pass or whatever it is. So you guys are probably watching it on certain boxes or certain sticks as some call them. But, yeah, once the fight gets uploaded to Twitter, you'll probably see highlights. Once the fight gets uploaded to YouTube, you'll see highlights. But basically, round 1 was close. I'm not gonna lie. Round 1 was super fucking close. Basically, it was the first 2 to 3 minutes. Gamrot was pushing the pace. He was not grappling. He was just landing more strikes, doing a little bit more damage, cutting open Hooker with a little bit of strikes here and there. Pretty good from Gamrot. But in the final 2 minutes, Hooker just put like a fucking beat down on his ass. I think he dropped him in one. Yeah, he did drop him. I remember now. He dropped his ass. It's a hard round to really give because Hooker did face a lot of damage. But the thing with Gamrot is that he gets dropped in every fight. And that's why I knew Dan the Hangman Hooker still got that pop in him. That's why he beat his ass in round 1. But, yeah, close round. Could have gave it either way. Important to note, they gave a 30-27 to Tai Tuivasa the fight just before this, and then that judge who gave that 30-27 was fired. Thank fuck. UFC do that more often, please. That was clearly the most biased judge to Aussie fans ever. And this was with a whole new board of judges. I don't think it was a whole new board. It was like the one new guy. But there's no biases, basically, because it's all Australian judges, because the one bad apple got kicked out. I think even giving Tai the first round is a little iffy, if you ask me. But, yeah, Dan Hooker, he had no bias from the judges. He got it done. Spectacular performance. Round 2, it was almost the same story, only Gamrot put less work into the first 2 minutes, getting a few takedowns. But the thing with these grapplers don't understand is that when you drop your fucking nose and pile drive yourself into the ground, it looks really, really bad for everyone. So if a judge sees you just drop to the floor after Hooker lands a punch, it's not looking good. Alright, that's all I'm saying. I'm not saying he dropped Gamrot again or whatever. Snapped Gamrot's head back a few times. Did Hooker face a lot of damage? Yeah, Hooker got a little, scratches here and there. But at the end of the day, he was stuffing takedowns. He was reversing the position. He was getting up from takedowns when they were, when he was getting taken down. And the problem with Gamrot at the end of the day is that he's no finishing ability. He can't finish on the feet, especially not a man like Dan the Hangman Hooker. All right. But he's also just like he's got no finishing potential on the feet. He looks clean. I'm not gonna say Gamrot's striking's terrible. It's his chin that is dog shit. I think we all know that. RDA dropped him, and that's why I kind of picked Dan the Hangman Hooker for this fight. But yeah, RDA dropped his ass. So I knew Dan was going to get at least one drop, and that's 1 round secured, which happened in round 1. Round 2, a little bit of a different story, but Dan just had way better takedown defense. Some of the best fucking scrambling abilities we've seen in the lightweight division, and that's like saying something. So now Dan has a win over Gamrot and is in top 5. Anyways, before we get to that, third round was a little bit of a close round as well. This round I think you could have went either way. But I think round 1 and 2, you could give to Hooker, like, not really any questions asked. 1 is just a little iffy, but Gamrot did get dropped. Round 2, there was definitely some markings going on with Gamrot's face. Obviously, Hooker still sustained more damage. Now, did a judge maybe give it to Gamrot in round 2? Maybe. I don't think, from my memory, because the fight just happened a few minutes ago, I don't think Hooker dropped Gamrot in round 2. I just think it was, you know, a little bit of wobbling. But, you know, they were both trading. I think in round 3, it was just another story of Gamrot hugging for his life and sniffing his crotch, where Hooker was just landing more shots and, you know, doing more damage in that round. I think, to be honest, too, right? I'll be 100% willing to admit Gamrot could have won that fight up until the final 3 seconds of round 3, where Gamrot got wobbled pretty hard and stumbled pretty hard backwards. Not sure if it was counted as a knockdown, but it was almost a fucking knockdown. And then Hooker was about to tee off if there was a few more seconds. However, I will say, Gamrot, his striking just isn't good. And before the fight, he said, "Oh, I'm going to prove I'm a real mixed martial artist." And then dove for legs after he got knocked down. Just saying. Just saying. These wrestlers are kind of getting exposed now. But, yeah. Feels good. Dan Hooker finally getting a win. Dan Hooker is one of my favorite fighters. It sucks that he goes to a camp with, you know, doggy diddlers, but it is what it is. I'm happy for Dan. Gamrot, you just gotta find something, man. You gotta get some sort of finish potential, you know? You have one... Is it one finish in the UFC? I think it's 2 because of the Fiziev situation. And I stand by this. If Fiziev did not have his knee blown out in that Gamrot fight, I think Gamrot would have been clean knocked out cold, and then we'd be sitting in a Fiziev Dan Hooker situation rather than Gamrot. But time has passed. It is what it is. Gamrot overrated at the end of the day. Does his style match up well against Islam? Yeah, but the problem is that Gamrot has no chin. Hooker has that snap, long, lengthy, still game. I think he's, I want to say 35. He might be a little older. I know he's like mid to high 30s. He's getting up there in age, but this is the Dan Hooker title run we've been waiting for, you know? And I think, you know, maybe run Dan Hooker Poirier again, and winner of that fights for the title again or something. You could do maybe even Chandler Hooker, just so, you know, we get Chandler moving along and retired. You could do Sarukian after a loss to Islam, I think is also the play. But that's just my take. Nice being right. I picked Hooker. One of the only guys I know on the internet who picked Hooker. Feels good. Feels good. Anyways, that's all I wanted to say. But yeah, good fight. Happy with the result. If you're on the Gamrot side, sucks to be you. But anyways, if you made it to the end, I hope you have a good day.